let's get right into this review for I Know What You Did Last Summer. Alright, so this film is officially considered a legacy sequel, as the two previous films that came out before this initially premiered all the way back in 1997. It's important to note that the sequel does contain some blast from the past characters returning to the drama, but the core of this story does indeed follow a new main band of characters this time around. And I'm here to report that you didn't have to watch the previous two films in order to understand the story here. Also, Jennifer Caton Robinson is the newest director at the helm for this latest installment. Now, what did I think about the cinematic package here? I can't wholeheartedly say that I had a good time with this cinematic experience. To start off, this is undoubtedly a campy slasher film, but I think sometimes the screenplay leans on the campy way too much for its own good. There's just an unfathomable amount of absurd, dumb, coincidental, and often, dare I say, D-tier moments that just left me baffled in a negative light more often than not. Now, there were sprinkles of moments throughout the acts that did leave me intrigued in following the bits of crumbs the narrative was chucking my way, but really by the time credits rolled, the entire cinematic experience felt jumbled, messy, and again, it was borderline C-tier plot that dipped several times into the D-tier territory, which is a realm you don't ever want a film to linger in all too often. And I will say, what you get in this cinematic package for this legacy sequel definitely runs parallel to the newer iterations of Scream that we got back in 2022 and 2023. But I Know What You Did Last Summer just does it a lot worse in comparison to Scream. Also, the throwbacks that happen within the story here and the way some of these legacy characters were incorporated into the plot just didn't work for me at all. I didn't think they really added a whole lot to this newest chapter, other than just being there for nostalgic sake, which I guess, sure, why not? But it's never good when you realize a character could have been scrapped out completely from the screenplay and there wouldn't have been any sort of real sizable dent to the plot. Now, to talk about some of the positives to the film, I thought the actors portraying the new band of characters we follow in this story did a pretty solid job with what they had to work with. There's some highlight moments with these said characters that do synergize well as friends, and that dynamic comes off naturally in many of the segments we see them together. I can't say there was a lot of depth to these characters, but right from the start of Act 1, I just came to accept that these characters here would never develop too deeply. Another part of the film I enjoyed were the variety of set locations at Southport, North Carolina. There were some visuals and setups to the film that I did enjoy on the big screen, so props to the team behind the scenes. My final score for I Know What You Did Last Summer is 5 out of 10. If you're into campy slashers, I think you'll still find moments of joy with this film. I personally would say it was just an alright one-time watch experience. There isn't anything too deep happening within the cinematic package here, and the story did noticeably drag on starting from Act 2, making the entire experience more sluggish than I would have liked. It's a fairly predictable story route, and I can't say any of the plot twists caught me off guard. And once you start thinking about the story post-screening, you just come to realize how absurd some of the pivotal plot points were. Thanks for checking this review out. I'll have more coming out this week, so stay tuned, and I shall see you on my next upload. Until then, stay safe out there, and peace.